Whether or not you are a fan of Bioware, or you are a fan of their most recent games, specifically their most recent project, Dragon Age the Veilguard, I think we can all agree that regardless of if it should or not, it had a lot of controversy around it. It did have mixed opinions with a lot of the players, and I have seen in my comments in a ton of places out on the internet, whether it's Twitter or in specific reviews of Dragon Age the Veilguard, asking where the old Bioware went. And again, whether you like the game or not, I think it's safe to say it was very different in terms of the tone and what we expected than some of the previous Bioware games we have gotten, like Dragon Age Origins or the original Mass Effect games, or way back in the day with Baldur's Gate and Knights of the Old Republic. And there's an upcoming game that I think answers some of these questions as to where a lot of the previous Bioware developers went, as well as some developers from Naughty Dog or some of the old developers that worked on Halo. And this game is called Exodus. But before we dive into Exodus and what this game entails and what it is said to be, thank you guys so much for over 800 subscribers. I really appreciate the support. If you're new to the channel and you like gaming news and gaming reviews, specifically with RPGs and action adventure type of games, please subscribe and like the video if you like what you see here. It really helps me out a lot. Now, let's get into the content. So what is Exodus? Well, Exodus is an upcoming science fiction AAA RPG set to be released by a company called Archetype Entertainment. And what's interesting about this company, and something I referenced at the start of this video, is it has a lot of veteran developers from studios that we have known and loved over the years. Specifically developers from Bioware, as this studio is headed by James Olin, who famously worked at Bioware for 22 years and brought a lot of those previous Bioware developers over to Archetype Entertainment. And he also brought developers from Naughty Dog, as well as developers who worked on Halo, over to the studio as well. And although we don't know much about Exodus so far, and specifically haven't seen much of Exodus so far, which I'll definitely get to later in this video because it's something I'm pretty hesitant about, this game definitely aims to be, at least in my opinion, their take on something similar to Mass Effect. It's a game that takes place in space, it's an RPG, it's going to have romance options with aliens, it is going to have choices in the game that are going to end up having different outcomes and shape the universe in certain ways based on your player's decisions. It even has a time dilation mechanic that these decisions are going to be consequential over very long periods of time, and you're going to see the impact of those decisions. On top of this, it's said to have a very big focus on the narrative and on the story in the world as a whole, and it also stars Matthew McConaughey. Now, this all sounds very cool, it sounds good, I'm excited to experience what these veteran developers who do have experience within these specific aspects of gaming bring to the table for this game, but what's the actual story going to be like? So, in Exodus, humanity is fleeing a dying Earth, and they have fled a dying Earth and found a new home in a completely different galaxy that is set to be hostile, where there's going to be a lot of fighting for survival, a lot of different aliens and creatures that you're going to either find that are going to be either good or bad, that you can obviously make an alliance with or not, and you are going to be playing the role of a traveler who is humanity's last hope to find that next home. I mentioned that time dilation mechanic a little bit earlier that's going to take place within the game and within the narrative, and this is going to be big for, I think, some really cool different emotional scenes within the game, as when you are going out and finding the new home planet, time is going to progress a lot differently for you than it would back home. Think of like Interstellar, where it could be a lifetime for somebody all the way back home, but for you as a traveler, this could only be a couple days or a couple years. There are even said to be supposedly something called the Celestials within the Exodus universe, which are set to be a diverse group of aliens who evolved from early humans who first discovered this new Centauri cluster and this new galaxy where you are exploring to find this home planet, and they are a result of thousands of years of human evolution and genetic engineering, and have splintered now into many different species. They're so different now than their human origins that it's hard to even remember that they were once human to begin with, and they have a lot of different abilities aside from the basic human, because they have all of this advanced technology and engineering which they have used to create all of this different high-tech stuff. Now, overall, I think all of this sounds pretty damn awesome. another game within space that's set to be an RPG with all of these different choices and consequences, and the time dilation mechanic to make those consequences mean more and cause, I think, hopefully some really cool story points. You trying to find humanity's next home with an exodus and being a traveler that has to fight and potentially ally with all of these different creatures and alien races and these celestials that used to be humans but are now a group of diverse aliens that have all of this advanced technology that were there way before you. All of this could make for a really awesome story, and already I think the world building here seems pretty damn cool. The issue is all we have seen is cinematics. I have not found any gameplay of this game at all. And no, I wouldn't be super hesitant if this studio had just been founded a year or two ago, but this was founded all the way back in 2019. So this game could potentially have been in development for about 5 years, or maybe pre-development for 1 to 2 years and in development for 3 years. And I think it's just a bummer that we haven't seen any gameplay at all yet, and it's really just been narrative and world building and Matthew McConaughey starring as one of the characters in the game. So I wouldn't get too excited here until we see something from this studio that showcases the gameplay, that showcases the gunplay, that showcases different RPG mechanics within the game, or how this time dilation mechanic works with the different choices and consequences, and if those are actually going to be meaningful in the course of the entire story. This is nothing that we have seen as of yet, so I would definitely hold off excitement until we actually see some of that stuff about the game, because if you remember, there's other games like Callisto Protocol, for example, that had ex-developers from the Dead Space series that came out and wasn't a terrible game, but definitely had a lot of issues with it, specifically with the gameplay portion. We have also seen games like X-Defiant, for example, that had a lot of the previous COD developers and still came out with a lot of netcode issues, again, affecting the gameplay. And it's not to say that these games were bad, obviously, but it takes a full studio a lot of times to keep producing those high quality games that we used to know and love. It's not just 1 or 10 or 20 people. These games a lot of times were built by hundreds of people with a ton of money because of how big these studios were and how big their publishers were, and they pretty much a lot of times had unlimited money to throw at these games and unlimited people sometimes to even throw at these games. So not to say that this game is going to be bad at all. I would just want to wait until we actually see something from this game in terms of the gameplay to start getting a little bit more excited about it here, although there are still some things here to get excited about. Now, before I wrap up this video, I do want to say if you are interested in this world and in this story as a whole from what they have shown so far, go over to their website. They have tons of different concept trailers. They have tons of different cinematics already about this game, and I think all of these sound really damn awesome, even though they can't say a lot as of right now about the gameplay and about the mechanics of the game itself, the choices, and things like that. It only takes about an hour to go through their entire site and to look at everything there, and I think if you are interested in this world, it's something that is definitely worth it because there are so many cool concepts here surrounding this universe. Thank you guys for watching the video. I also want to thank Matty Plays because I didn't even know about this game until I saw his most recent video on it about where the Bioware developers went. I thought it was very interesting, so go check out that video as well. Comment down below what you guys think about this game. Do you think it's going to be the return to form for the quote-unquote new Bioware? Do you think you're just going to wait to even get excited about this game until you see some gameplay? Have you heard about this game? Do you think the world and the story and everything like that is cool? I would love to hear down below in the comments. Thank you guys for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!